I would like to call the Parks and Recreation Committee to order. It's on. Can you hear me? Okay. You're all right? Okay. So I call the meeting to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We could have roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Drumheller?
Present.
Ms. Webster? Here. Mr. Morrow? Here. Ms. Sheldon? Here. Mr. Halloran?
Here.
Mr. Moore is the alternate? Here. And is Ms. White back there on Zoom yet?
She is not yet joined.
Okay. Well, then that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Announcements and agenda modifications. Mr. Blankenship?
Madam Chair, if I could, as an announcement, I want to let you guys know that July is National Parks and Recreation Month. So we traditionally do a resolution, and we make our annual report to council about the workings of the advisory board over the past 12 months. So that will be July 9th at the city council meeting here in the chambers at 6 p.m. So July 9th, we'll do the proclamation for July's Parks and Recreation Month and our annual report. So tomorrow I will send out a notice to you guys just to send me some notes on some accomplishments, things that may have occurred in the parks that you're overseeing or that we did as a group. And I'll give you a deadline to get those back so that we can put together a report, and Ms. Drumheller will present on July 9th, as she did last year.
I'd encourage everyone to get your comments to Richard by the end of the month so that he has time, because we try to put a short PowerPoint together.
Yeah.
And it would be great if you all could possibly plan to attend that meeting.
That would be really nice to have good attendance at that.
Any other announcements?
No, ma'am.
So for agenda modifications, I would like to add two things to unfinished business, item E. I would like to introduce our new committee members in the structure, and also I would like to revisit for item F, the Adopt a Park program, so that we can reallocate with the change in our committee members. Does anyone have any issue with that? Anybody in the public? Okay, so the next item is item 5, which would be the approval members. Have the members had an opportunity to review?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of May 19th.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have Ms. Webster motion, Mr. Hallahan second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes are approved as written. And our next item is for public input. Do we have anyone here that would like to have any public input on something that is not presently on our agenda?
Good evening. Chairperson, board members, thank you first of all for your volunteerism. It's important in this community. My name is Damian Gilliams, 1623 US Highway 1, Sebastian. I did go to the University of Buffalo, UB. Like that jersey. Mrs. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was kind of taken aback by the last meeting with the testimony that went on the record and the property owners that appeared before this board that provided you with very important information pertaining to the park, Riverview Park,
Yes.
and closing down Harrison Street. We feel that the board, if you go back and you look at your videotape and really take a good look at it, I think the information we provided was very confusing, and you look to staff for a recommendation and a motion. And I thought that was very concerning to us, and we will hope that you take a look at that, another look, and bring it back on the agenda for discussion so that we could reappear and clear up any misinformation. Since then, I had the opportunity to research other communities. Community to the north, Melbourne, they are doing a band stage as well. But they're not shutting roads to the show, to the additional improvements that they're making. They're leaving the roads open. By shutting the roads to your grant money that you're providing to increase the usage of Riverview Park with the sprinkler system, the band stage that you're putting down there, and the modifications you're making to the volleyball court, et cetera. You can still have your cake and eat it too, you know. You can, during those special events, shut the road down. We're okay with that. 5, 6, 7, 10 times a year, even if it's 15 or 20. But the other 300 plus days, like all the other businesses on Indian River Drive, they went ahead, the city invested traffic lights, traffic lining where people can cross. And you can have it both ways. What you're doing is you're affecting two major property owners coming down Harrison Street, and then as you direct the traffic through the parking lot of your property, you're running the traffic into another shopping plaza, which they're already complaining. They went on the record and said, hey, it's a problem. And for this board to take a vote the way they did at the last meeting concerned me, because I felt you really didn't understand our wants and our needs, and there was no compromising. It was, well, what do you want us to do? And you look to the staff, and staff made the recommendation. And to me, unless I missed something, and I'll take another look at the videotape, I'm asking this board to reconsider, put it back on the agenda, invite the people that it's involving, the families that are employed, and really understand what you're doing by shutting down Harrison Street. It's not in the best community. It's not in the best community as far as the businesses go, and it's heartbreaking. You know, I don't need to tell you what's going on in the economy right now with consumer confidence, with what's going on in the world, what's going on just in generality. And to make it a lot more difficult for families that have been here for 33 years plus to just think about the park by shutting down the road so 365 days a year you can cross the street, when in fact they do it all the time. They have so many events down there and they shut the roads down. They shut the boat ramp down. They shut it down. They don't shut the roads down. You're limiting yourselves to emergency safety vehicles, number one, to get around by putting up, I guess it's going to be a bus stop at that location. So I plead with this board to reconsider. Let's get it back on the agenda while there's still time. You know, nobody likes to use the word litigation, but when you affect our family income and my staff income and my business, you leave no choice. Okay. And that's a concern. That's a big concern. And I just hope that you're a little more understanding and forgiving. And, you know, people make mistakes, and they sometimes go back and fix them. So there's still time to do that, and I hope you reconsider. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your volunteerism. Nobody likes to be up there and making decisions. It doesn't make everybody happy.
Thank you, Ms. Gilliams.
Okay. Thank you very much.
There is another public workshop. I'm sure that you can come to that too, that there's going to be another public workshop. Because what we approved actually was such a rudimentary plan just to move forward. It's not the final plan. There's still a whole bunch more that needs to go through committee before this gets to the point where it's finalized. So it was really not a final vote at all.
Well, thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. And if you could instruct staff to send us a certified letter, so at least the property owners that have a vested interest on that street for 33-plus years, we'll be here with proper representation as well to make sure that, we make these decisions and we make them right. And please, instruct staff to go up to Melbourne, look at their bandstand. They're not shutting the streets down. They want people to.
Where in Melbourne they're putting this?
It's on the Indian River Drive down there, along the river. You just call the city of Melbourne, I think it's city of West Melbourne, and it's in the newspapers. It's public record. And they're not shutting the roads down.
Yeah, I think every situation is different, though. I hate to compare things to Vero Beach or Palm Bay or Melbourne, because I think the issues need to be addressed of what's going to meet the needs of our community. And that is not necessarily going to be the needs of any other municipality. And even though I've been to where you're talking about, and I think it's a different layout, a different situation, but there's still an awful lot of time for you and for the other businesses to make their case for what you feel is going to be most appropriate for you. But thank you for coming and sharing
No, I
your
appreciate that.
opinion.
And Mr. Chairman, you make a very good point, That's why everybody can have their cake and eat it by shut the road down 10, 20, 30 times a year. That's not 365 days.
Yeah.
We could share it. We could shut, we're with you on that. Let's shut the road down during the special events so people can cross. But those other days, there's nobody down there crossing. And what you're doing is you're hurting our family, you're hurting our employees' families, and if, I understand it's me. I own the property down there. A lot of people may not like my politics. I understand that. But don't look at it that way. Look at it in the benefit of the community, that there is going to be safety down there, that when you have your big events, shut the road down. As a matter of fact, I'll let you shut the road down in front of my business for those special events where it makes sense.
Okay, thank you for your input.
But let's
Is there one other business on Harrison Street? Is that the dry cleaners?
the dry cleaners, yeah.
And that's the only way that you can get to the dry cleaners. You got to go down that street.
That's correct, sir.
And
Yeah.
you're on the corner, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Board,
And
let
he
me,
doesn't have US 1 frontage like I do. I have US 1 frontage.
Excuse me, we're not going to debate
yeah,
this.
it's not good, it's not the time to debate.
This is not a debate. This is really
Well,
just
he has a
about
very
your
legitimate
public.
question. I'd like to answer his question.
I think his question can be answered by Mr. Blankenship, if that's okay with you. You've exhausted your time.
Okay, well, just for the record, Mr. Chairman, 772-713-5071. Come on down, I'll give you a tour, I'll show you what we see. I'm happy to take you up to Melbourne and show you what they're doing. They're a little
Thank
more
you.
advanced than we are because they have a lot more money and a lot more engineering, and they're doing it right. So with that being said, I understand it's me, and they want to shut the road down, but think about the other family. Thank you very much. I don't mean to overspeak on my time.
That's-
I didn't see the clock running, so I don't.
Thank you for your input.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We need to check Zoom for public.
Do we have any other public input? Is there anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Is Ms. White on Zoom?
Not yet.
Okay, all right, thank you. She may have some issues with getting on. All right, so we're going to item 7, unfinished business. Item A is the current project updates. Mr. Blankenship?
We just continue with the developing the master plan that we will, as you mentioned, bring back to council for adoption at some point. I don't know exactly when that is right now, but we continue to work on that. Main Street boat ramp, that is in design and permitting right now. We had our FIND, which is Florida Inland Navigation District grant reviews this past Saturday. We put in for funding of the dredging of the Main Street boat ramp. And we also have a grant application in for Florida Boat Improvement, which their review is this Thursday. So,
Do we have the permits yet for that project?
no, it's in permitting now.
It's still in permitting? Is
Design
that
and
like
permitting.
months
September
away?
1st will be our goal to get permits, design complete. And then hopefully if that goes well and we do get funded, we can go to work, first quarter of next fiscal year.
Okay.
Law enforcement dry line, the contract was executed and the vendor should be starting at he's in permitting right now as well. And we are having to add a fire hydrant, so that work will commence shortly. So you'll see some work down at Twin Piers. Swing and Bench Park is in permitting as well. It has been designed as far as the shoreline stabilization goes. That's the critical aspect that we have to solve, is the shoreline stabilization. Then we can do the actual swinging and benching locations and stuff. I think at this point we introduce Dale Moore for.
Yes, Mr. Moore, can you please come to the microphone? And we'd like to welcome you as an alternate member to our committee.
Thank you. Is this working?
So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Dale Moore, resident of Sebastian. We just moved down a few years ago from Orlando, and we looked all over Florida and decided Sebastian is where we wanted it up, because one thing is I felt that I could actually contribute to the community, which I had in my plans for my retirement. A little harder in Orlando, and so I've been real pleased with my acceptance here. Both I'm on the board at the society, at the Historical Society, and this is great too, because I love to be working on the park, as Richard knows. My background is 50 years in themed entertainment, hospitality, boat design, things like that. So very much in tune with traffic flow of pedestrians and that, and what excites them and what gets them to do this and that, and makes it a pleasant experience for them. So that's what I hope I can bring to this committee too, is some creative ideas on what the plans are already going on. And that's it in a
Well,
nutshell.
welcome, and you've arrived at a wonderful time, because we've got a lot of planning to do
Well,
with
it's gotten
Riverview
hot real
Park
quick.
and the swing event, so we look forward to working with you.
Okay, same here. Thank you.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up on unfinished business is re-looking at our Adopt a Park program. So we have, and I may have, this is like such a scratch out that I have. I will redo this and send it to Mr. Blankenship again. But Grace, is Kildare Park the only park you have? Okay. So we have 3 parks that our former member had, which is Friendship Park, Riverview Park, and Stormwater Park, to divvy out. And Dale, we have all of the members of this advisory committee kind of adopt a couple of parks in our community. And you go there a couple of times a month, check it out. If you see something that needs repair or answer, whatever an issue is, you can contact Richard, and they're very responsive to try to keep our parks the best they can be. Oh, I just sounded like I came from Boston. You did. Because I do. That's so funny. I don't always talk that way. So the Stormwater Park is really, a lot of people walk there, they take animals there. That is located off Engler. So that's a really big park. There's a lot of wildlife there. Friendship Park is right behind us. Yeah, behind us that way. And we all know Riverview Park. So I don't know if anybody wants to change a park that is already aligned with one, or let's kind of have a discussion about the parks. Do you have any ideas, Ms. Webster?
I have Hardy Park and baseball fields.
And you're happy with those?
I'm fine with those.
Okay.
I would say that I'm the only member with small children, so I would request or feel like my input would be best with a park that had a playground.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't mind either way.
What about Creative Playground?
That is, so which is that on here? The
That's
Creative
Barbara's, that'd
Playground.
be part of Barbara Street.
Is that part of Barber?
So that would be the Barber Street Sports Complex is part
It's
of the
Creative Playground, yeah.
So that's you.
Okay.
maybe we should take that out, though. Can we?
I think so.
Can
You
we?
can do this,
You
can
can
do
do
the,
whatever you, as,
You know,
creative.
I think that park would be great to have the input from someone with young kids. And it's our biggest park, has, you know, it's new, so you can kind of watch different things go down. But can we split that to the sports complex and then add the creative playground?
so what you're suggesting is, Ms. Webster maintain Barber Street Sports, and Ms. Sheldon takes creative playground.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that good for you?
I do.
I think you,
I
I'm
do.
just gonna-
We're there a lot.
I love that. I go there just to sit and watch the kids play. And I try to get kids to go, like pick up a kid, hey, you want to come to this? This is a really cool park. So Dale, would you be interested in a couple of parks? You want to start with two? Do Now, this is like being in the military. You're volunteered to do this. So you want Riverview Park? How about Riverview and Friendship Park, which is behind us? Okay. Does anyone want to pick up Stormwater Park?
I'll do it as a third.
I'll do this,
Yeah,
okay.
I will, yeah.
Okay, so, Mr. Halloran. And we'll have Dale and Dale. Yeah, we're, okay, so I think, so are you okay with the ones you have? You don't want to make any changes, right? Okay. All right, so I will redo this list and get it to you, okay? I'll get that done. All
Madam
right.
Chair, before we leave that, if I could just fill you guys in on some things that are going on in Tallahassee that are affecting us
Okay,
as far as grants go.
okay,
You know, we've been very proactive in trying to hedge our bets, you know, applying to multiple funding sources for singular projects and stuff. So last week with the state budget, some of those grants that not only us, but communities all over the state have depended on for decades were not funded. That's the Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program. That was the funding source where we would get the $50,000 non-matching grants, and they even had the larger $200,000 grants. The cultural facilities, that's where the applications are in for the bandstand or the stage at Riverview.
yeah.
And then the small matching grants, those were the ones that, it was a one-to-one match. So if it's a $50,000 maximum with a match, a $50,000 match. So those aren't funded. And we have, to date, we probably have 7 or 8 applications in for projects through those sources. Good news is the land and water conservation from our original application for review is funded. Florida Communities Trust was funded. Florida Boater Improvement Program was funded, so we have some projects in for all of those. So it's not as good a news as we typically get from on the grant side from Tallahassee, but it's not dire. But I just wanted you to know because we do have a lot of applications in for a lot of different projects.
So there's a potential that the new grant applications could refund what we were looking for?
There's potential, and that has happened, and you know,
Okay.
I've been dealing with this for 35 years, so I've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
Where or the following year, they just funded everything. So there's potential.
So basically, what didn't get funded out of Tallahassee, what I heard is like maybe $150,000 in smaller grants, is that?
For us?
Yeah,
Oh, no, it's over $1 million.
over, just
So
for
we
Parks
have.
and Recreation?
We have we have
Okay.
Main Street Boat Ramp applications, we have Swing and Bench applications, we have Riverview applications, we have Friendship applications, and, no pickleball applications. There's one more, but I think Bryant Court. So yeah, it's over $1 million that we applied for that wasn't funded, wasn't considered. So I just wanted you to be aware of that.
So we're going to have an interesting budget discussion.
For other reasons, yeah, and
Yeah.
not for, I mean, the biggest impact for what I just went over with you is just the not being able to do projects as quickly or as on other people's,
And having to break down, like Riverview Park might be an extended project in multiple stages because of funding.
potentially, yes.
All right. Well, thanks for that good news.
Yeah.
Anybody have any comments on that? Questions?
Myself,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm not going to say my comments.
Okay, so now we're going to item B, which is the committee member park updates. Mr. Halloran, would you like to start?
Sure, I'll start. I have two parks, I had two parks, now I have three, but both Bryant Court and then George Street. And I went there recently, and I noticed that the turf looks very nice, and I did check under the swings, and I didn't see any matting or any problems with that. It looks like it's worn a little, but that's because it's being used, you know, as far as that. But an item that I brought up, or a subject that I brought up like 3 months ago, was that both of my parks have abutters, one or two at each park, that consistently park their either vehicles or their trailers on the grass opposite the side of their house. And over the past couple of months, I've gone to the other parks. I think I've gone to all of them, but at least I've gone to most of them. And I haven't seen any other park that has the same issue that both Bryant and Bryant and George Street have. What I did notice is that at Blossom Ave Park, there is a sign on each of the bordering streets. So there are 4 streets. Each street has a sign that has no parking anytime, with arrows going both ways. So I would like to ask if we could have those signs installed at both Bryant and George Street, and then we can see if that may or may not solve the problem.
I will ask the question of why one park and not all of our parks, or everywhere we're, because there may be a reason why they're not at the other parks, but I'll investigate that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Ms. Webster?
Hardy Park looked really, really good. Green and people walking. I haven't been to the ball field. I think they're playing their all-stars and stuff like that, but I think they're about over.
They start tonight.
They start tonight.
The games start tonight.
Are they playing here in
No,
Sebastian?
ma'am, they're playing in St. Lucie County.
Okay. Mr. Renzi?
Me? Oh, okay. All right, so Blossom Street Park, Main Street Boat Ramp, and the Yacht Club were all looking pretty good. Pickleball courts are still missing the windscreen on the west end of the first set of courts. And on the east side, they need to be tied down on the bottom. That's it.
Ms. Sheldon?
Kildare is still wonderful. I saw lots of wildlife and people walking there just yesterday.
Okay, so my parks, oh Lord, the garden club, the plants are just doing great. It's so good. It's so nice to see. I see more people there now. I go there regularly and check out all the flowers. There's been lots of butterflies, so I'm really happy with what's going on in Garden Park.
So for that park, we're trying to schedule another work day.
Okay.
So we're partnering with the local Girl Scout troop. So we're trying to set a date with them that we can go there and weed, and we'll invite the advisory boards, both this advisory board and Natural Resources Board, if they want to come out and assist. And just go out there and on one Saturday morning and just weed it, because we don't want to spray it. So that'll be looking for that date coming up soon.
Periwinkle and filbert are fine. Filbert is just so many tortoises. Wow, they're everywhere there. And in Riverview Park, the Orca project for all the planting that they did is fabulous. And those plants are all taking off so nicely also.
And I would encourage you to go look at that, not for the planting, but look at the orchard that were staged.
Staged, yeah.
You know, people don't, I didn't realize, the bigger issue there was the shoreline stabilization. And you can tell, I was out there this afternoon, that part is working. There may not be any oysters, but the shoreline is building back up. So that part looks to be very successful so far.
So at Fisherman's Wharf, I walk the river a couple of times a week, and last week I had the first sighting ever on the river of a manatee with 2 babies. It's the first time I've seen them, and they were next to the old crabby bills where they used to have all the statues. And I thought it was a rock, and I said, "How did the water get that low?" And then it started moving, but I was like, "Oh my God, manatees are back!" That was a wonderful sighting for me. So I encourage people to go to Riverview Park in the morning. Sunrise is amazing, and you'll see a lot of people walking dogs and just communing with the nature. So it's beautiful. So upcoming events at Riverview Park.
So in a couple of weeks, we got July 4th parade, 8:30 a.m. on the 4th. And that'll be a good time. Then Freedom Fest starts around 10 or 11. And it goes until about 8:30. And then the fireworks at 9. And that'll be our Friday, July 4th.
It's always a wonderful time on the river on the 4th, for sure. Any public input? Is anybody on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. The next item is new business. Does anyone on the committee have any new business to bring up? Hearing none. Mr. Blankenship?
So the recreation program calendar, I just want to give you an update. I don't know if any of you were able to attend the summer kickoff concert, but it was very successful. Everybody thought it was a kickoff to a series of concerts, but it wasn't. It was just a kickoff to the summer. So,
But there's a need because people want more.
they want. We've gotten several requests to do more. So that we will be doing more, but when we do it, we'll be based around our budget and fundraising and sponsorships and all that stuff.
Sure.
Touch and Tour, you may remember that program from last year that
year.
occurs here. We bring in the large equipment for the kids and the adults and like it to investigate. The museum will be open. The senior center will have a open house. The art club will have an open house. So there'll be a lot of stuff going on, and that's September 13th from 10 to 2 p.m. here at this campus. And then a new program we're doing is Kids Fest, October 4th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that'll be focused a little bit of everything from art and culture to we'll have some poetry workshops. We'll have a sidewalk chalk competition. The wildlife organizations will be here for some educational stuff. Anglers for Conservancy will be here to do a fishing clinic and give out fishing poles and bait or tackle boxes and stuff. So there'll be a lot of things, and it'll all be oriented toward kids.
Do we have an age range for that project?
Right now, what we've got planned is like 15 and under.
Okay.
But the poetry workshops, older kids could be involved in that. And in my past, we've done poetry workshops, and they do draw a nice high school crowd because they enjoy writing.
And
But there'll be
that's in
more coming
October.
out on that as we get closer to the date.
Okay. Anybody have any comments?
No, but I think my granddaughter would love the fishing part of it.
Well, bring
I'll
her.
have to bring her.
Mr. Renzi?
Quite a fishing.
General comments?
Yeah, general comments,
Okay.
certainly.
So I want to ask the question, Richard, when the gentleman was talking about Harrison Street being closed down, what would the purpose of that be? I mean, I know there's a dry cleaners down that street,
Yeah.
and the only way that you get to them is going down Harrison Street.
No, you can get to them coming from, yeah, but you can get to them coming from Indian River Drive and US 1. And the closure of Harrison is not new. It came up in 2023 before I got here.
Yeah.
It actually went to council. The idea was to have a contingent pathway from, the park is not traversed by a road. So you can go from one side of the park to the other side of the park without crossing a road. But again, that's
Yeah, but what's on
not
the
been
other side
decided
of the
on.
park other than another parking lot?
Pardon?
Well, the splash pad and the Veterans Memorial is on the other side of the road.
Down by the river,
No.
Well, actually,
no,
right next
behind
to the dry cleaners.
The dry cleaners, right
next
beside.
to the dry cleaner?
Yes. And then there's the road, so if you go from US 1 down Harrison towards the river, there's a side road right after you pass the dry cleaners, and that's what they're proposing to be the road that will be the entrance from Indian River Drive up to get to in and out
So
of the
it's
dry.
not closing the entire road, it's just,
Half of it.
It's half of
But,
it.
and it hasn't been
Half of
decided.
it.
It's part of a conceptual plan. It did come to council back in '23. And that's how it ended up on the conceptual plan. But, that's up to our elected officials to decide what's done with it.
And,
that's yet to be decided.
And there were people at the first public meeting about that plan. There were folks that talked about the closure of that road and the businesses, not only the businesses on Harris, but the businesses like in the plaza next to Country Ham and Eggs, because that back area kind of is the back to them.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they
you can
had,
get to that parking lot going
yeah,
down
so
Harrison,
they had
right.
some concerns also. When it went to council for discussion, there's also plans by council to have another public input meeting about when there's more than just what we agreed to move forward as a conceptual plan.
Well, it definitely I don't recall there being a commitment to another public meeting, but it does have to go back to council for sure.
Yes.
Which is a public meeting, but not a workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that again, that,
And I believe it's going to come back to us before it goes to council, correct?
I would imagine, unless nothing changes.
I can't imagine that.
But we'll just, that's part of the issue with we could, in my opinion, we need to get it to the elected officials and have them opine on it. I guess if we brought it back to this party, to this group, the only thing you guys could do is change what you did before, which was, as you mentioned, was a very generic motion. But we will, that'll play out
Yeah.
on what we
Well, I
do.
mean, according to the master plan that we were given,
That's a conceptual plan.
conceptual plan, okay, so this shows Harrison Street open probably 2/3 of the way down to Indian
Yeah,
River Drive.
right.
Okay, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see what the problem is then.
Have the local businesses been
not a-
polled or surveyed about how they feel about it? Or do we just invite them openly to these forums to voice their
They've come to
opinions?
I don't know if they've been polled because I'm not staff, but I do know that they've come and voiced their concerns, and I think they've also met with you individually, because I've gotten some calls and refer you know, if you do get calls about it, I'd refer it back to Mr. Blankenship so they can meet with staff that have the depth of how this process is working and what we've passed. So I know that has been accomplished. But I think there's always going to be, there's no project that everyone is really happy with. And change can be hard sometimes. But, you know, we're here to listen to whatever the public has to say and to make a decision on whether we think their personal opinion outweighs all of the other positives. So we just have to kind of figure it out as it goes along. But Riverview, that project is ongoing as a unfinished business until it's finished. So we'll always have an opportunity to speak about Riverview Park in this meeting.
But it's really never our decision.
It's
gonna be
council's
the decision
decision.
of city council. And
Yeah.
Right.
we can just say what we think, or, yeah.
Yeah. We are just recommend and advise. Any other comments? Okay, so, Mr. Blankenship, this says our next meeting is July 21. Can you confirm when our
I
meeting
think we
is?
did, the the budget advisory board meeting is on that Monday.
At 6?
Our meeting is that Tuesday.
Or so ours is really July 22nd.
Yes.
Tuesday. So if you guys will put that on your calendar and
And if for
circle it
some reason
twice.
that's on the calendar that's come out, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay, and does anyone have anything they'd like to include for the next agenda?
And keep in mind, we will be reviewing our CIP at that meeting.
Okay,
That usually takes a long time, doesn't it? Yeah.
that's usually a meeting.
Don't add anything to the agenda.
I'm just
Please
asking.
and thank you.
Okay, if no one has any other thing, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second? Second. Okay, all those in favor? We
Aye.
are adjourned.
Where are you from in Massachusetts?